Welcome back. I'm Alfred Lamont Weber, and today we have an extraordinary guest who is a multidimensional healer and musical artist with a great tale that I'll let him share with us. Welcome, TruthSeekah.
Thanks for having me, Alfred. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been listening to your work for years now, and whenever I was going through my process of awakening, I was looking for like-minded people doing interviews and podcasts talking about the situations that I was going through. And I was led to your show probably 4 years ago and been listening ever since. So it's a pleasure to actually be here. And for those people who are coming up with those same questions that I had, they want to know about these situations that they're having, these dreams, these visitations, these visions and everything. So hopefully they can get some understanding today and be in the same position that I was 4 years ago listening to your show. Thanks for having me.
Very good. Now, you're going to start off by sharing some of your music. I understand that you're a rap artist, is it?
Yeah, I do esoteric and spiritual hip hop about a lot of my experiences with extra dimensional beings and aliens and angels and trancing out and things like that. So yeah, I try to take that and put it in a form of music. So I do esoteric and spiritual hip hop is what I call it.
Okay, share some with us.
All right, this song, this is a snippet of a song called Mystic Mind. It's on my album Spiritual Alchemy. So check it out right quick.
I know what I hear. I know I'm not crazy. Then I know I would have never made it without help. Transcend the physical, spiritual, individual. Faith follow the work, so we healing them with the syllables. Third eye visual, teaching mystical principles. Knowledge up from the reading and giving that to the senate. Overactive imagination, they medicated and dissipated, expect the worst and exaggerated. I'm frustrated, where we're headed is not where we've been. Cali we're at the hands of the fallen men. Righteous teachers were given wisdom like Solomon. I grab my feet and write blessings that will bind the chin. God's breath and I feel it like I'm feeling the wind. I come too far to look back and start over again. Stimulate your mind, you seek and you will find the kingdom that's inside. Wake up and realize you need nothing that's outside. The blind leading the blind, Pharisees and false scribes. Religion will only bind. When truth is the mystic mind, one begins to prophesy. Dreams and visions dwell inside, resonate and start to shine. To a place where I reside, ancient ways to space and time. Jacob's ladder, I will climb deeper to the mystic mind. Truth is the mystic mind, one begins to prophesy. Dreams and visions dwell inside, resonate and start to shine. To a place where I reside, ancient ways to space and time. Jacob's ladder, I will climb deeper to the mystic mind.
So that track is called Mystic Mind. It's on my album Spiritual Alchemy. So
yeah, could you share some of the lyrics with us? Would that be okay? Or
yeah,
I don't know if that's okay or
yeah, I could do it. I'll do it in like a poetry form. But
okay.
the verse starts out and basically that song is about receiving telepathic thoughts, telepathic communication, whether it be from higher beings, whether it be from God, the Elohim, angels. And I try to take that and put it into a poetic sense.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very beginning of the song, I've got different samples and stuff like that. So there's a sample from the movie, The Book of Eli, where he's talking about hearing this voice and he's hearing this voice and he follows the voice his whole life. And so everything that he does by following this voice, and the voice has led him down every path that he's on. So it's kind of symbolic for us. It's just following the voices, following the synchronicities and things like that. So the song starts off, it says, transcend the physical, spiritual, individual. Faith followed by works, and we're healing them with the syllables. Third eye visual, teaching mystical principles. Knowledge help from the prudent and given unto the simple. An overactive imagination, they medicated and dissedated, expect the worst and exaggerated. I'm frustrated, where we headed is not where we've been. It's Kali Yuga, we're at the hands of the fallen men. Righteous teachers were given wisdom like Solomon. I grab my pen and write blessings that will bind up the jinn. It's God's breath and I'm feeling it like I'm feeling the wind. I've come too far to look back and start over again. Stimulate your mind, you seek and you will find the kingdom that's inside. Wake up and realize you need nothing that's outside. The blind leading the blind. Pharisees and false scribes, religion will only bind. When truth hits a mystic's mind, one begins to prophesy. Dreams and visions dwell inside, resonate and start to shine. To a place where I reside, ancient ways through space and time. Jacob's ladder I will climb, deep inside the mystic mind.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, that is very profound. Um, could you share with us your journey, which has been, you've also written a book about your journey, is that correct?
Yes, I just published a book, my first one. It's actually entitled "The Testimony of an Ex-Witch," and I speak about my childhood getting actually involved in black magic and witchcraft, and opening up doors that I wasn't able to close at the time, and led me down a pretty scary path. I've seen entities appear to me, and heard voices, and seen shadow figures, and was actually tormented by opening up these doors. And it was when I finally hit my knees and called out to God, and needed assistance from a higher power, is when my life totally transformed in the year 2000. And I write about all that in the book. The testimony of an ex-witch is available at truthseekah.com. Truth SEEKAH.com.
Right. So when you were reciting those verses, you're speaking from a deep experience because you've been there.
Yeah.
You've been there with the
Yes.
jinn,
Yes.
so,
Yes.
so to speak. So could you start with your journey and kind of sharing with us how it began? What was your evolution in this kind of multi-dimensional dark to light
Mhm.
journey?
Well, I started having different experiences as a kid. These different supernatural experiences. Waking up in my room with the shadow people, and having beings laying on my chest, and I couldn't breathe. And I had that as a kid, so I knew that there was something deeper to this reality. That there was something there. I didn't know what it was, but I know I had that experience, and so that kind of opened up the door for me to, my curiosity to watch different occultic movies, and different supernatural movies as a child, and I was really fascinated with it. And I got into a lot of the darker music at the time, was like Marilyn Manson and Korn lyrics and stuff like that. Was real big into the gothic scene, and um, basically opening up some doors. We wanted to get involved in spirituality, and I became a Christian at the time, and I really had a profound experience in 1998 where I confessed my sins at a prayer meeting with some friends, and I felt this immense heat overwhelm me and take over my whole body. I felt this burning sensation go out through my whole body, and I felt like I was cleansed from all the evil that I had done in my life, all the lies that I told, all the things that I stole, all the drugs that I consumed. And this was as a teenager. I had this experience, and it only lasted for a couple months. I tried to do the Christian experience, and I guess it wasn't for me. And I got plugged in school and started hanging out with the wrong crowds and stuff like that. So I got even deeper into a lot of the dark stuff, a lot of the dark witchcraft, and we were just kind of mixing everything together, dealing with Wicca, Satanism, um, different stuff with Aleister Crowley. We just mixed it all together. So there was really no formula that we had. It was just a little bit of everything. And I had a guy who was he was like a warlock, and he was basically discipling me, and he would teach me different spells and incantations, and his involvement with the craft was real deep. He was really advanced and in his art, and so he would tell us stories, and we'd hang out over there. And there was an instance where I stole something from his house. I was living in Louisiana at the time, and I came to Alabama just for the weekend, and I was stealing stuff from my different friends, because when I would go back home, I'd have all that stuff. It was like video games and CDs and T-shirts and things like that, necklaces and jewelry. And I was staying with him for a night, and I stole some video games, and I put them in a bag across the street at my other friend's house. And so my mom was supposed to come get me to bring me back to Louisiana. She was coming to get me and my cousin, and she didn't show up. She said she was going to be a couple of days late, so we had to find somewhere to stay. And whenever this happened, we were going to stay with him again. So we were hanging out, and it was kind of like a party atmosphere going on. A lot of people was drinking, and they was about to start smoking a joint, smoking some weed. And me and my cousin, you know, we wanted to smoke. And somebody walks through the door, one of my friends, and he's holding some of the video games that I stole from the Warlock. And he hands it to him. And on this particular night, there was a lot of guys there dressed in all black that I'd never seen before. They were all older gentlemen. And they all look at each other and they shook their head. Yeah, okay, we know what we got to do. They stood up. And those guys were actually involved in a lot of gang involvement. So I thought that we were going to, you know, be in trouble. We're going to get beat up from actually stealing from them. So they all stood up, and I seen them, and they all walked to the back of the trailer where the guy was staying. They all walked actually one at a time to the back. I didn't know if they were going to get weapons or what. So I looked at my cousin. I said, hey, we got to go. We got to leave right now. He said, no, they're fixing to smoke a joint. There's some girls showing up and stuff. You know, we want to hang out. It's like, no, we need to leave now, man. This is going to get bad. And so, you know, he actually walked outside with me, and I told him what happened, and he said he didn't see it. So there was a guy out there talking to some people. We asked him to give us a ride. He gave us a ride probably about 1.5 miles down the road where my girlfriend was living with her parents. He dropped us off a couple blocks away. So we were going to actually go to her treehouse and spend the night in her treehouse because we did that like 2 nights before. So we're hiding in the bushes, getting ready to run to the treehouse to make sure her parents and everything wouldn't see us out there. And while we were waiting, there was a light in the yard, and the light looked like someone holding a flashlight, and it hovered throughout the yard for like 45 minutes. We watched that light, and it wouldn't go away. So finally, we walked around the side of the bushes, and right when we were getting ready to run, the wind started blowing, and this figure appeared. And the best I can describe this figure, it looks like it was about 8 foot tall, and it looked like a camel. It was totally black. It was blacker than the darkest of night. And it ran past me and my cousin and knocked us both down and screamed when it ran past us. Knocked us both down to the ground. We stood up in panic, and it disappeared when it passed us. And we were shaking. We looked around, and we started running to the treehouse. And that experience right there really, first of all, it scared the hell out of me. Second of all, it really piqued my interest in the occult because I knew that it wasn't theory. I knew that it wasn't just somebody's opinion, or someone had wrote a book and all these people believe in something that doesn't exist. There was some type of portal that beings can come through. And what actually happened was he had a protection spell on his belongings that brought his stuff back to him, and they summoned this elemental to come out there and harass me. So what that was, if you do your research, it was a elemental spirit, these spirits that are formed out of the elements, earth, air, fire, and water. They appear out of smoke. They can bend light and use shadows and things like that. So that right there piqued my interest a lot into the things of the occult. So I began to dig deeper after I had that experience.
Right. And so you weren't, so what you're saying is that you went deeper into the occult, or you began to turn toward the light at that stage?
No, I actually went deeper after that. So we started, my girlfriend at the time, she got into tarot cards and was doing a lot of tarot readings, and we would hold seances and rituals at my home. And I was at the point where, like, I knew that something existed on the other side, but I hadn't quite made contact personally. So I would do these different mantras and meditations and chants out of all these different books. And I would really just lay on the bed and open up my mind to any type of entity that wanted to come through. Like, I just wanted to be touched by the divine. I wanted to see something again, you know? So I would do all this stuff, and eventually they came through. Eventually I started hearing voices in my head and seeing shadow figures all throughout my house, sitting on the couch watching TV, and figures would run past the TV really fast, seeing beings in the doorway and things like that. And I eventually started getting really sick, coughing up blood, started coughing up blood. And everywhere I would go when I went into public, I couldn't look anybody in the face. I had this hysteria, this crazy schizophrenia psychosis take over me, where I would hear these voices speaking to me, and a lot of them were speaking in ancient language that I couldn't even understand. A lot of times in like scary movies and stuff, you hear it sounds like they're whispering, but it's actually in a different language. And all of these things were happening at once and really scared the hell out of me. And I felt like that something was taking my mind from me. Like I had no control over my thoughts, and it would, you know, and then I would be sitting on the couch, and very much like the movie Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon, where he would actually turn pale, get really cold, and start seeing spirits. And that exact same thing was happening to me. I'd be sitting on the couch and I'd get really cold. My skin would turn white. I'd start shaking and I'd start crying. And I would start seeing these colors and these shapes and these spirits all flying around, talking to each other. And I couldn't understand them. And then I would zone out of it. And it actually scared the hell out of me. I ended up opening up some doors that I wasn't able to shut, and I didn't know what I was doing. And that's when I hit rock bottom and actually started calling all types of churches and things like that, trying to get some help, telling them, you know, leaving messages on their voicemails, telling them that I felt like I was possessed by demons and I needed help. And so after calling all these churches, one pastor called me back, and he came over to our house, and he prayed with me, and he would actually pick us up and bring us to church, and pick us up and bring us to Bible study and things like that. So we got plugged in to that church in Louisiana. And then we moved from Louisiana to Alabama, where we knew everybody around here, and we got plugged into church. And this was in 2000. And so I had the Christian experience from 2000 and until now. And so being involved in actually studying the Bible and being involved in, you know, Bible theology, I ended up finding through spiritual experiences that, you know, that the Bible was true, and that a lot of the spiritual experiences that that Paul and Jesus had and the disciples of Jesus had were very much similar to that of the people involved in the occult, or what the world would call the occult. We're talking about going into trances, having dreams, seeing visions, hearing heavenly voices, angelic visitations, telepathy, things like this. And that started to pique my interest, because I was still having these experiences as a Christian, but they were like in a positive manner. It wasn't like negative demons approaching me, trying to speak to me. It all became angelic. It went from dealing with these lower level entities to dealing with angelic beings that you know, brought messages to help people, and was able to read people's auras and vibrations, and pray for people to have healings and stuff like that. And all this was happening. So about 3.5, 4 years ago, I began to have a deeper awakening, and got involved with stargazing, just spending time gazing at the stars, and seeing the stars begin to move, and seeing craft come out of certain stars and go pose as another star. And so I began to pray and ask God, like, you know what I'm saying, what is this? Like, is this the beings that have our greater good in mind? If this is the Elohim, which is mentioned of in the Bible, if this is the seraphim and the cherubim mentioned of in the Bible, if they have my greater good in mind, will you let me see them? And I begin to see them more often. I begin to see them almost every time I went out. And they begin to communicate. They begin to send different telepathic thoughts, and basically tell me that they were the ones that were watching over us since the beginning. They were our creators. And when that happened, things got a lot more interesting, because I'm around all these church people and having the Christian experience, and then we're talking about ETs and extraterrestrials and the Stargates and Orion and things like this that I begin to become infatuated with. That's when I was led to your show. I was actually led to the work of James Gilliland as well.
Oh, sure.
And the podcast that you had, with him, I listened to that about 7 or 8 times. But yeah, so that's where I'm at now, is really studying and just putting into practice, a lot of the stuff that I've been listening to over the last couple of years, and it's real, man. It's there's a lot going on, and I'm just being used to assist people in their healing, and actually in their awakening process as well. It's a beautiful thing, but I don't really deal with the church too much anymore,
Right.
After speaking about a lot of this and stuff. So that was a process to go through as well, being shunned and being, gossiped about and everything, because I did, Christian rap for,
Right.
A long time. So from doing that and being kind of a, celebrity and a big name in that genre, start talking about, like I said, Stargates and telepathy and things like that, they start blogging about you, and you start hearing all type of stuff. So that whole process was something to go through as well. So, I mean, I'm here now, and I'm enjoying life. Enjoying information, and I just want to share what I've been through, with the world, and hopefully my story can inspire and help some other people in their process of awakening and spirituality as well.
Ha, have you come across the term starseed at all?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Do you identify with that term?
I identify with a lot of the the traits, but the same thing as far as
Hmm.
like a star seed or indigo children and things like
Yeah.
that. I really try to stay away from a lot of the labels and stuff and say that that's what I am. I'm this or I'm that, because I feel like it kind of puts people in a box or whatever.
Yeah.
But I definitely resonate with a lot of the features that those children possess. So.
Yeah. Yeah. When you were talking earlier about the first phase, let's say that you went into, especially after you had the experience uh, at the treehouse, or
Mhm.
right around the treehouse, the word that kept on coming up for me was archons,
Mhm.
and kind of an archonic infestation.
Mhm.
The archons being the some other cultures call them jinns, because I
Mhm.
know that you mentioned jinns. Is this something that you've been studying at all? The archons
Yeah,
at all?
I mean, I've recently, done the different research um, with these entities under that name. That's kind of a new name for me within the last year or so.
Yeah.
But basically, what we would call jinn or evil spirits or unclean spirits, they're actually called different things by different peoples or different religious groups as well. But I believe we're talking about the same thing. I believe we're talking about these negative energies or
Yeah.
these different um, disembodied energies as well that feed off of positive energy, and much like like a virus or a parasite would actually feed off of the life of another organism. And in the spirit realm, that's like the best way to actually present it. Is that's exactly what's going on. Many people are actually dealing with these entities that are causing depression, anxiety, fear, doubt, worry, and all of these things, and it's not walking in our full potential. So we're coming out of that. I had a lot of what we would call exorcisms and stuff that I actually had to I'm saying, go through in this process, and so now I'm actually helping other people come out of it as well, other people who have these different demonic entities on them, hearing voices, and have different habitual addictions that they can't seem to quit. And a lot of times, this is these demonic and archonic entities that are dealing with them. And so, basically, what happens is they're disembodied spirits, and they want to feel pleasure. They want to taste food. They want to feel pain. And the only way that they can do this is if they have a body. So what they do is they get on people or they leech on them, and they suck off of their energy, and they try to send forth vibrations and thought frequencies and thought patterns that will promote them to do most of the time these negative acts, whether it's killing, raping, cutting themselves. A lot of teenagers are involved in that. I was involved with it, and it's just overwhelming gratification when they do it. And a lot of times these entities have been on them for a long time, actually generations, with their family. So it's like a familiar spirit as well, that they actually have been there so long they feel like it's a part of them. So when they feel this pleasure, when they feel this pain, and it sends this euphoria, they feel like it's them feeling it, when it's really this entity that's actually working through them. So I'm in the process of actually helping a lot of people remove these entities, and they come through a lot of ways and through open doors and things like that. If what I'm saying, can let them in. And basically, I did the master ritual to let them in. I did all these rituals and asking any entity to come in, and they did. And they are on a very low level. And when we talk about meditation, when we talk about spirituality, whatever level that you're resonating at, like these entities can't exist at a high level of frequency. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about you doing negative actions. If you're lying, if you're cheating, if you're stealing, if you're gossiping, backbiting, slandering, talking about people, you're going to be dealing with these negative energies. You're opening up your body, you're opening up your mind and your life to these negative entities. But once you transcend that and you move to the next level and you deal with all this baggage and you deal with these entities, then you can resonate at a higher level and actually be approached by angelic beings and to move into this next level of consciousness. And that's kind of what happened to me. It's happening not only to me, but a lot of people, obviously. And people come to me all the time, and they're having similar experiences and stuff. So I know what's going on, and we've seen a lot of people helped through actually removing these entities. So
right. Now, how did your musical talents figure in all of this? Did they develop at a certain point, or have you always had them? Did they change in the middle of this?
Yeah, I started doing music when I became a Christian. I started doing Christian hip hop and playing in Christian metal bands.
I see.
And so I started doing that. And then, like I said, the last 4 years or so, it's just been developing and getting a lot deeper. So it's totally different from what I was doing. It's the concepts are a lot deeper. I have to wrestle with the lyrics sometimes and actually, trying to make everything make sense, and but yeah, I'm getting better personally. I get better with every song that I do, and I'm actually resonating with a lot of people out there. I'm getting a lot of feedback from people who are just moved, who get chills when they hear the music, when they feel a sense of God, a presence of God, or the Holy Spirit, or the Kundalini vibrating, or something like that. Whenever they listen to the music. And that's amazing, because when I was coming out of doing the gospel, the Christian music, I got a lot of negative backlash from a lot of the church and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. How so? What kind of negative
Wow.
backlash would you get?
Well, a lot. See, we were like doing street preaching and stuff like that, street evangelism, stuff. So we was really big in it, and I was a teacher. I was a biblical teacher. I did a lot of podcasts and Bible studies and things like that, and a lot of people looked up to me. So when they hear me talking about UFOs or aliens or ETs or something, yeah, they started, and it just it's really weird, and it's really powerful, man, that you can actually feel when people are talking about you. Like, you can actually feel the negativity. And then, like, I would try to visit some of the churches and places and stuff, and when I would walk in there, like, they couldn't look me in my eyes and stuff. And this was people that I was close with, and all of them would look at me and look away and look down. And but since then, I've had a lot of people apologize to me for it, for the different backlash and the slander and stuff. But it's just something that you got to go through. And those who are involved with religion, just put your seatbelt on, and you got to become water and you just got to let it slide off of you. But it can't be hurtful.
Yeah, because some, as I understand it, some sects have the view that extraterrestrials are diabolical.
Yeah. The majority of Christian content that you'll find out there on YouTube or just on the internet is going to tell you that ETs are demonic. And whenever I started to actually get into this and look it up and have the experiences, I was doing it as a Christian. So I was led to the work of Steve Quayle, Lynn Marzulli, all these guys who have the same notion or whatever, that aliens are demons and they want to possess you, or they want to abduct you and probe you and things like that. So I did about a year's worth of study under these guys with their material and stuff, until I began to just say, okay, let me just look at the information for what it is. Let me not approach it with a biased standpoint, like, okay, I'm approaching it as they're all demonic and they want to abduct you and they're demons who have found bodies or something like that. And I was led to the work of Dr. Stephen Greer, David Wilcock, which is a huge inspiration with his work and stuff, and listening to your interviews and Project Camelot and things like that, and stuff started to make a lot more sense. And then I started having my own experiences, and they began to move to the next level. And I never had a negative experience with ETs. I was really afraid of them as a child because of the movies and things like that, and Fire in the Sky, and those type of things. So when I began to have different ET experiences or seeing craft come down above my house, the first thing was that fear, like, oh my God, this is really happening. I'm going to be abducted and I'm never going to, see my family again. They're going to take me away and lock me in a pod somewhere like they, on that movie. So there was a lot of fear and hysteria that I had to get over. So now I use my music and I use my platform to kind of promote a CE5 contact and things like that. And people can go out and stargaze and have their own experience and not, just have this in theory or listen to somebody like me or Stephen Greer and hear all their stories, but for you to actually go out and make contact yourself and have your own experiences. And really the term abduction, I haven't heard that term in a very long time of people talking about they're being abducted and probed and things like that. I think what we hear now is the term contactee more than we hear the word abduction. So.
Right. Well, could you describe for us some of your interactions with, not on the negative side, but rather on the positive side, if you'd like to do that?
Yeah, a lot of it you actually make contact through meditation. Through meditation and getting your body and your body, your spirit, and your mind as one, and you're centering yourself, and you just start with the intention, because everything that we're talking about with spirituality, whether you're dealing with the demonic, whether you're dealing with the angelic, it's all with the intention. If you set the intention out there that you want to, make contact with higher beings that have your best, your best future, your best, at hand, you're going to make contact. If you're trying to contact negative entities, you're going to contact them. So whatever you go into the spirit realm trying to do, you're going to get it. Whatever you're looking for in the universe is the way the universe is set up. You're going to find what you're looking for. So mine really started through having a lot of different experiences through meditation. I've had a lot of experiences in church with different Christian brothers, like doing different prayer meetings or something, just a couple guys getting together and actually praying for one another. And these guys were actually open to a lot of these things and having experiences as well. So we could kind of confide in one another with still having like a core belief in Christ and a lot of teachings in the Bible. We could still confide in one another. So we had an experience where we were all sitting together in a circle praying. It was actually three of us, and I felt this strong energy hit my body, and I seen a bright white light. Whenever I closed my eyes, it took up my entire vision, and I felt love. I felt radiance all hit my body and enter me. I started shaking, and they were holding my hands, one person on each side, sitting in a circle, and my body jolted back, and I started screaming at the top of my lungs because I felt tremendous joy, and I seen this being in white. So what it was a being that was actually emanating light. I don't know if some people want to say it's Jesus or whatnot, but when it happened, they was actually able to feel the energy coming off of me, and it felt so good. It felt so euphoric to them that they didn't want to let me go. So they actually had it pulsating through them too. And it was funny because the guy who owned the home was a little scared because I think it was like 12 at night, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs that I felt this immense joy, but at the same time, this deep, heart-wrenching pain for humanity, that these entities care for humanity, that they care about the way that we treat each other. They care about the way that we treat the planet. They care about what we put into our bodies, and they want us attuned to this higher level. And so that right there happened a couple of years ago, and it shook me, you know what I'm saying? So I went afterwards, and I would spend time in prayer and meditation, and these beings would appear, and I would be able to see them with my eyes closed. And what they they didn't look like grays or anything like that. They looked like beings that were robed in light. Mm-hmm. And you know what I'm saying, what people call the green light beings. I had a instance where one walked up to me and just basically started scanning me from top to bottom. I felt the energy hit the top of my head and go down my body, and it just kept scanning me and reading me. And they come with thoughts and impressions. They usually don't talk. They usually plant thoughts, and you can feel the vibrations, and you can feel the intentions that they have. You can actually read it. And so if it was something negative, then, most likely you would feel something negative. Or something positive, you would feel this euphoric, happy feeling, So that's what those times happen in, like, spending time in meditation. And then when I would go out to stargaze, they would actually come out, and they would appear right above my house, I had one come down, actually stargazing with my daughter. And that's the one I was talking about a while ago. I just went into panic mode because it came down really low. And this was kind of close to the beginning of all my interaction. You know, I told her to run inside. I was like, go inside, get out of here. And I was like, wait, no. Just wait, look at, no, go, get inside. So I've had those experiences. And like I said, I've seen so much stuff up there. And a lot of times you put the intention out, you put, you know, the prayer out. Many people say that, you know, you're going to be calling down these ETs, and you need to watch what you ask for, because you're going to get something bad. You're going to get abducted or something like that. And I understand that in the Bible, Jesus said that whenever his children ask for a fish, he doesn't throw them a serpent. Whenever they ask for bread, he doesn't throw them a stone. So it's kind of the same principle. Like if you're putting that intention out and you're asking for the entities that have your greater good in mind, that you want to make contact with the angelic, with extraterrestrials, that they are out there watching over you. They are what many people refer to as guardian angels. And they do, you know, fly, you know, in space, because according to the Bible, space is heaven. When you read in the scriptures and it says that, behold, I looked into the heavens, the same Hebrew word that is used there is the word for sky. So these entities fly from heaven to earth, and they bring messages, they bring vibrations, they bring spirits, things like that, back and forth from heaven to earth. And you can actually see these, and like I said, they come with thought patterns. They communicate telepathically, and it's pretty interesting. And but I've seen them actually, you know, pose as other stars and then light up really bright and actually fly in formation back to into a star system. Seen them fly into Orion, and many things come in and out of there. There's a lot of videos on the internet that you can watch that are very similar to things that I've seen. People using night vision goggles and seeing them fly, that are actually flying in formation. We had one night we were camping, and we were chanting Om, and we were playing djembes and stuff like that, just really getting into this meditative state. And I think we counted 12 within an hour that were just shooting back and forth, and they would blink for us. And you put the intention out there, and it's going to happen. But you have to spend time out there as well. But you know, it'll definitely happen if you go out with that intention.
Right. And so, sorry, and so now you really seem to be on a path, on the one hand as a musician, and on the other as well, a healer, and kind of providing counseling, that kind of area.
Hmm?
Do you spend most of your time in music, or most of your time in healing? What?
It's both. I mean, I see the music as an extension of the healing. So throughout the music, there's different mantras, there's different frequencies that are played in the music. There's prayers and mantras that are recited over the track in the studio that are turned all the way down, that you can't hear them, but you can actually feel them when you're listening. So a lot of people, by listening to the music, it actually activates their DNA and takes them into a whole nother level. So that's why, you know, the first album I did in this installment of this new music was called Awaken the Fire. It's about awakening that fire within. And then it was Spiritual Alchemy, about actually transforming spiritually by using all the experiences that you've been through, all the negative, the positive, and everything, using that to make you into fine gold and moving from one level to the next spiritually. So the music is definitely an extension of that, and understanding that if you want to heal people, if you want to be a healer, then first you need to be healed. So I went through all the traumatic experiences. I went through all this different, you know, negative beings and entities were contacting me and harassing me. I went through all that, dealt with all that. So now I'm in this place now where I'm actually able to help people. So it's a balance of both, you know, like I don't deal with a lot of churches. I don't go out to a lot of gatherings or meetings too much anymore. So whereas a lot of the healing sessions that I would do with people were in groups that were set up with that intention of touching the divine, or talking to God, or talking to the Holy Spirit. So we really just set up an atmosphere for me to operate, and you know what I'm saying, like where there's people who had demonic entities on them to pull them off. So I don't deal with a lot of those circles anymore. So the internet has opened it up where we can do different healing sessions via Skype or actually, you know what I'm saying, telephone or email or whatever like that. So there's a lot of people who contact me, you know what I'm saying, that way. And I have different services that I'm actually available for as well. And but yeah, it's all about healing, and whether it's in one form of the other. But I definitely see the music and see the good that's coming from that as well. So it's all part of the same goal, you know.
Right, right. Um, I was wondering if at this stage you'd like to. We're kind of coming to the end of the segment, and I was wondering if you'd like to share with us another bit of music.
Yeah, let me think of one that I can do right off the top. Let's see. You know what? I actually just wrote one today.
Okay.
And I'll read this to you guys. If you
Okay.
just give me 1 second. I'll pull it up. I wrote one today that I just did for somebody, and here it is. It is. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. As we focus on inner being and see our problems solved. Built to win, they say I'm destined to lose. I look to no man for no answers. Look within and keep cool. Spirituality is very natural to me. The angels are proud of me, revealing the signs and guiding me. I like the shines you see so bright at night, the darkness flees. With a vision so high and a face so deep, revealed within my dreams. I'm a mystic prophet, no nonsense, the narrow path I choose. I walk in honor, so I'ma win and never lose. I follow sages and seers who make entities loose. What I bound on earth is bound in heaven, so demons reduce. The Naga Champa, it burns and stimulates my senses. The sage I handle, it scrambles lower demonic systems. This knowledge is hidden, revealed to you through mysticism. I'm making love with Sophia, which is the voice of wisdom. I just wrote that today.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, just wrote that one today. A little shaky.
That's really beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
So how can people access your music and access your books and your healing and other things?
Yeah, everything I have to offer. I just launched the website today. It's like the master site of everything I've done, putting it all on one site. Which is TruthSeekah.com, Truth, SEEKAH.com. So all of my music, all of my podcasts, my interviews, my teachings, my albums, my MP3s, everything is on there, TruthSeekah.com. And I'd definitely like to, answer questions when people, people have questions, email me and stuff like that. So definitely available to the public, and I enjoy doing what I do.
Oh, great. Well, thank you very much for reaching out to us and for sharing with us your creations and your story, and for taking time out today to come on to our program.
Thanks so much for having me again.
Yeah, sure. And I think that this is a real treat for our viewers because it's something that's completely different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very much within the framework of our programming to show what the dimensional ecology is like and how there's all these different aspects to it. So we look forward in the future, perhaps you can return from time to time as things move and develop. So thank you.
Would definitely love to. Like I said, thanks again. I just feel so honored that when I was having my awakening process, I came to your channel, your podcast, your interviews, and I found what I needed. So I just see a lot of people coming here watching this interview, being in the same position that I was in. So actually being able to learn from this conversation that we had as well. So thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.